How you doing, world? This is JJ, and I'm your host with African American News Channel. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope everybody had a great Monday, a great Tuesday, a great Wednesday. Today is Thursday, and I hope everybody having a great day today. Now today, like usual, we have some very interesting video for you guys today. So stay tuned, grab your popcorn, grab something cold to drink. You don't want to miss this today. You don't want to miss this today. Now our first story is about an African woman who is mad at the American government because she says, why should my people, African Americans, have to pay for a DNA ancestry test? Watch this video.
American government, whoever the authority there is, I am talking to you now. I am African. I no get scared for nothing. I beg, why are my people paying for a DNA ancestry test? You kidnapped them from their homeland. You took them and you still making them pay $200, $100 to do an ancestry test about where they belong? I beg, bring them back. We want them back, all of them. Before we couldn't fight you. We couldn't fight you before because you had guns and bombs and we had stones. I beg, we will fight you now. Bring back our people. Give them their test for free. We want them back home. Hey!
How did you guys feel about that video? Was she right or was she wrong? Comment below. Now our next video is about an African woman growing up in America who says she feels uncomfortable being around black people. Her whole life, she's always felt uncomfortable being around black people. Watch this video.
As a retired suburban black girly / retired token negress, I definitely have some thoughts on this. For one, the initial video was actually inspired by a tweet by one of my mutuals. Her name is Nia. She's actually head of the Hoochie. Well, she's been a lot of things. TikTok just won't let her be great, but she gives great commentary, so you should definitely go follow her. Anyway, I grew up in the suburbs of northern Chicago, late 90s, early 2000s, and historically had always been one of the only black people, or especially black girls, in all of my classes. Never saw myself at school, never saw myself on TV, never saw myself out in the streets in the neighborhood that I lived in. And my parents actually stopped taking us to the black church that we had attended for the first 10 years of my life because it was just too far and they preferred to go to church locally. So now, not only am I not seeing myself in my day-to-day experience, but there also are no extracurriculars that are going to solidify my identity as a black person. Now, at the time, I didn't think too much of the fact that all of my friends were white. I don't think my parents thought too much of it because, again, it was just us. But eventually they started getting concerned when I started exhibiting some weird behavior. What kind of weird behavior, might you ask? I started getting very visibly uncomfortable being around other black people. I got very into my role of being one of the good ones, if you know what I mean. I had been so brainwashed by my white peers to believe that other black people were ghetto and that they were stupid and that they were unambitious and not trustworthy, dangerous, all that stuff. And when I tell you the indoctrination from the suburbs is real, listen, it is alive and well. And it wasn't until I got into high school and I joined a bunch of extracurriculars that were run and actively participated in by other black people from all sorts of different backgrounds. Someone had to tell me about myself. And it forced me to take a really good look at my life and ask myself some real questions. Why are you uncomfortable around other people who look like you? Why are you more comfortable being around people who literally make snarky, microaggressive comments or blatantly racist comments in your presence all the time? Why would you prefer to be aligned with them? Why the fuck would you even look at these people as the safer option as far as company? Like, what? Because listen, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter how hard you try to separate yourself from blackness as a result of growing up in spaces where you didn't see yourself. At the end of the day, you might not see yourself as one of those, but they still do. You can try all you want to separate yourself from your blackness, but baby, at the end of the day, this is a club that you have a lifetime subscription to, and they'll never be able to relate. So y'all can play that stupid ass game if you want to, But when you need us, know that we're not going to be there because you were being fucking weird.
How did you guys feel about that video? Was she right or was she wrong? Comment below. Now our next video is about an African man who says, why is it that in Africa we are more welcoming to foreigners in our land than foreigners are more welcoming to us in their land? Why are we welcoming foreigners in our land with grace when we go to other foreigners' land, they treat us like nothing? Watch this video.
Why is it as Africans, we are more welcoming of foreigners in our land than foreigners welcoming us in their land? And this is what I mean by that. You know, in Africa, we have a lot of, foreigners that come to visit, and they get a better treatment than our own citizens, our own Africans. But in the Western country, on the other hand, it's not the same. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that the white man is more welcoming of you than a black man? Do you really think so? Because growing up in a Western country, in most cases, I know a lot of Africans, we have this ideology of thinking that, the black man has this, stereotypical thing behind them as the bad person. You gotta stay away from the black man, stay away from black people. And white people, oh yeah, they're more welcoming. But that's not true. That's really not true. We've been conditioned to hate our own people, whether it's black people or our fellow Africans from different countries. So my question is this: how come as Africans we are more welcoming of the white men, the Caucasian men, than our own people? Look at it in Africa. The white man gets a better treatment in our own land than our own people can. Why is it? No, I've never understood that. But yet, in the Western country, as an African, you do not get the same treatment. You basically belong nowhere. You don't belong in the black community, and you don't belong in the white community.
I'm back. How did you guys feel about that video? Was he right or was he wrong? Comment below. Now our next video is about an African American woman who says, man in other countries see how bad black women treat man in America, specifically black men. Watch this video.
And they have surmised that we are all hoes, that we get ran through, that we listen to crazy music, that we think it's normal to have children out of wedlock. We think it's normal to not have men in our family. We think it's normal to not listen to men. We think it's normal to hate men. We think it's normal to talk down specifically on black men, no matter what his relation is to us, whether he's our son, our brother, our uncle, our father, our grandfather, the co-worker, whoever he is. We find it to be acceptable in black culture to talk crazy and talk greasy to and about black men to their faces. We think it's acceptable to harm them physically when they don't do what we want them to do. We think it's acceptable to slander them. We think it's acceptable to talk crazy publicly about them, talk about their shortcomings, whether real or made up.
And these other men actually see black women as degenerates. They see black women as disrespectful. They see black women as disloyal. They see black women as dishonorable. And they see that black women are all of these things to the men that actually hold up their community that they're in.
How did you guys feel about that video? Was she right or was she wrong? Comment below. Now, our next video is about an African-American man who says Africans see African-Americans as Africans. I've been to the African continent. I lived on the African continent. I studied at the University of Johannesburg. Watch this video.
Africans see African Americans as Africans. You're going to have people that say, oh, Africans don't see African Americans as Africans. They see us as foreigners. I've been to the African continent. I've lived on the African continent. I studied at the University of Johannesburg for an exchange program. One of the questions I was constantly asked was, where are you from? I'd say the United States. They would ask me, where are you really from? They're implying an African country. Because as a black American, when you are on the African continent, Africans don't know you're from the States until you start speaking. They assume you're just another African. So I would have to say a region in Africa because I'm not sure, because of the slave trade. But because we as African Americans, as well as Afro-Caribbeans and those in the diaspora, are black, we blend in. This is why I don't like this whole African versus African Americans versus Afro-Caribbean. Y'all acting like if we dropped y'all in Nigeria, if we dropped y'all in Haiti, if we dropped y'all in the Bahamas, that they finna know you from the States. Yeah, when you start talking, they're gonna know, okay, he has an accent, where is he from? But until that point is asked, you just another African person walking around in the society. Just like you got this debate between African American culture, Afro-Caribbean culture, and African. Like we don't exchange from one another. Like you a black American ain't African, but you eating yams and okra all the time. You an African who said we ain't got no connection with African Americans, but you listening to hip hop and Afrobeat. You say you ain't Afro-Caribbean, but some of your ancestors come from the Barbados and Haiti, Jamaica, and the Bahamas. Well, Jabbar, we weren't born there. We aren't from there. They're going to know we're different. Yeah, just like a black person from Mississippi is different from a black person in Ohio. A black person from the Bronx is different from a black person who's from LA. A black person from Enugu is different from a black person in Kano. A black person from Johannesburg is different from a black person from Cape Town. Quit the unnecessary divisions. Africans see African Americans as well as other members of the diaspora as Africans. That don't mean it's kumbaya. It means we are part of the African family whether or not you live on the continent or abroad. I will go even further and say African American along with Afro-Caribbean and Afro-Latino culture all are a part of African culture. They are subsets unique to their own circumstances. And y'all can rep your culture. Because that's what makes African culture special.
How did you guys feel about that story? Was he right or was he wrong? Comment below. Now, our next video is about an African woman who says when she moved to the U.S., she felt nothing but serious hate from black Americans. Serious hate from her own people. She said, I would have thought I would have experienced serious hate from the white people, not my own kind. Watch this video.
Let me tell you all a short story. When I first moved to the United States from Cameroon in 2013, I experienced serious hate. It made me to think that I was not good enough. This hate did not come from white people. It came from black people. People I thought I could relate with more. People I strongly believed based on the fact that they looked like me, that they were going to show me love. But they were the ones that treated me badly the most. Why? My Black Americans, why? What did we ever do to you guys? I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that has experienced that kind of treatment from other Black people. We love you guys. If anything, we would love to have you back in the continent, but na say tin the not the waka. Now why that will come for here for come to una? I bet una begin to calm down. Una show we love.
How did you guys feel about that video? Was she right or was she wrong? Was the African Americans right or was they wrong? Comment below. Now our next video is about an African currently living in Africa who says African Americans aren't African. We don't want them here and we don't need them here. Ooh, it's about to get hot. Ooh. Watch this video.
We don't want them here.
What? They're your brothers.
They're not our
and
brothers.
sisters.
They're not our brothers.
They are.
If you were born in America and have lived there for 300 years, you're no longer African. Those are Americans. We don't need them.
We don't need
They
them
were
to develop.
taken away, unfortunately, but they are Americans. We will develop by ourselves. Yeah, we have the capacity, we have the will, we have the resolve. We don't need them. No.
I totally agree with you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Well, we don't want them here.
Whew, that was hot. That was hot. Let me get some cold water. How did you guys feel about that video? Was he right or was he wrong? Comment below. Now my next video is about an African American man who says, don't call me the N-word. It's not cool and I don't like it. So don't call me the N-word. Watch this video.
True story. Just yesterday, a young black guy on my job, around 20-some years old, he called me the N-word, and I got upset, and I told him, I warned him, I said, don't call me the N-word. So he didn't quite understand why I was upset about him calling me the N-word. And I said, let me tell you a little story. I said, back in the early 1980s, my parents moved us to an all-white town in North Carolina. I was around 12 years old, okay? And within days of moving to this town, we saw Ku Klux Klan newsletters and all kind of crap in our front yard every day, okay? So my younger brother and I, we were like, why would our parents move us to an all-white town like this? We didn't understand. So, but in the midst of all that, you know, I met two cool little white dudes, and they told me where I can go ride my BMX bike and skateboard and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, I went there, had a good time, and I left. And when I left there, I was by myself riding my bike back home. I was riding, all of a sudden a car jumped the curve. It was two older white men. Jumped out of the car and said, where you going, N-word? I looked and they said, take your ass back where you come from, you little N-word. And the taller one, he took and looked in my eyes with so much hate, and he spit directly in my face and called me the N-word again. And they left. They didn't touch me, but they left. I remember wiping my face off, and I got back on my bicycle and I started riding back home, and I cried. I cried. There was nobody there to protect me. This was done to a 12-year-old kid. And I remember, I told myself, I said, when I become a man, I would never allow any fucking body to call me the N-word. I don't give a damn you black, white, Asian, Puerto Rican. I don't give a damn who you are. People are brainwashed. There's nothing cool about using that N-word. You're fucking brainwashed. Wake the fuck up.
How did you guys feel about that video? Was he right or was he wrong? Comment below. Now, how I feel about today's videos is this. Everybody is going to always have an opinion about this and that. Don't go here, don't go there. It's not safe here, it's not safe there. Most people get their information from the internet, YouTube, social media, or other people. But they rarely get their information from somebody who's been there or who experienced it. And even then, you have to experience it for yourself. It's been a lot of countries, a lot of states that people say, don't go here, it's dangerous. It's not safe. They don't like you there. You won't survive there. Even countries, don't go there. It's not safe. It's dangerous. You won't survive there. But most people who's giving you that information have not been there, have not experienced it for themselves. Everybody's going to always have an opinion. You cannot trust nobody's opinion but your own. And the only way you can figure out for yourself is if you visit that state or you visit that country. It's bad people everywhere. It's good people everywhere. Bad things happen everywhere. Good things happen everywhere. And I'm talking states in America, and I'm talking countries outside the America. So you really can't listen to anybody's opinion. It's just an opinion. It's not facts. It's an opinion. An opinion is what they think, not what they know. You have to experience it for yourself. I'm going to give you a perfect example. We hear a lot of bad, negative things about Chicago, about about Louisiana, about a lot of states. I know people who's living there, who's living a good life, working, growing up, raising a family, and they ain't worried about nothing. Nothing is going on from what we see on social media and what people tell us about things they saw and haven't even been there. I know people who's in Africa right now who's living good, who say, I ain't never coming back to America. These people are so nice. These people are so respectful. These people love us out here. I'm never going back to America. I feel so free. I never felt so free. But yet, when you look at Africa on the news or you know, the average African American tell you about Africa, they say, don't go there. It's dangerous. You're going to get kidnapped. They living in huts. They got so many diseases running around. But they have not been there themselves. A lot of people go off what they see or what they hear, and they have not experienced it. My advice to you is experience it for yourself. You're not going to get a for sure answer until you experienced it yourself. If you like today's videos, please subscribe, please like, please comment. God bless you. I hope all you guys have a wonderful and blessed day.
How to pronounce colors? We take, bli, poropile, to quoi si,